The Great Gatsby by David Kim. Here is a picture showing all of the main characters in The Great Gatsby. From left to right, it is Myrtle Wilson, Tom Buchanan, Daisy Buchanan, Jay Gatsby, Jordan Baker, and Nick Carraway. Jay Gatsby. Gatsby lends his name to the title of the story. He is a newly rich Midwesterner who has recently moved to the East. His one life desire is to be reunited with Daisy Buchanan, whom he was separated from 5 years ago, and at any cost. His hunt for the stereotypical American dream brings him from poverty to the highest class of wealth, which he has to achieve in order to compete for Daisy. He is often associated with illegal things such as organized crime. His mansion is located on the west egg by Nick's tiny abode and hosts parties almost every night. Nick Carraway. Nick Carraway is a Midwestern everyman and was raised by stereotypical Midwestern standards such as hard work and perseverance. He serves as the story's narrator but is also a vital character as well. He also implies that he is the author of the story. He rents out a small house on the West Egg next to Gatsby's monstrosity of a house. Because Nick is Daisy's cousin, he aids Gatsby on his quest to reunite with Daisy. Nick's Midwestern standards cause him to be a bit homesick from all the wealthy Eastern people. Daisy Buchanan. Daisy Buchanan is a beautiful, mesmerizing, and sociable woman. She was brought up in Louisville by a wealthy family, which caused her to have a standard at which she has to live. Her husband, Tom Buchanan, provides this way of living for her. She is a very desirable woman, and many men, including Gatsby, aspire to have her by their side. She is Gatsby's one true desire. She is a sort of symbol that represents the elite class of social women. Tom Buchanan. Tom Buchanan is a hulking brute of a man, as his wife calls him, even though he hates the word brute. He is the husband of Daisy Buchanan and lives a luxurious life on the East Egg, where he plays polo, rides horses, and drives fast cars. He admits no shame in his many past affairs with other women, his current affair being Myrtle Wilson. Jordan Baker. We first meet Jordan Baker, the professional golfer, at Tom and Daisy's mansion. Similar to her friend Daisy, she represents a particular class of women. She is a single, wealthy woman who is admired by all men wherever she goes. Her relationship status with Nick is on and off and gets offended when he does not seem interested in her. Myrtle Wilson. Myrtle Wilson is a married woman to George Wilson, but is the lover of Tom Buchanan. She is a representation of the lower class, but when her affair with Tom gives her some insight into the upper class, her personality changes astoundingly and immediately. Her life with Tom is done so in a secretive manner, and they take all precautions necessary to not be seen together. Exposition. The exposition, or background information the reader needs to know to understand the story, is not told at the beginning of the story as usual, but through a flashback Jordan has later in the story. Jordan tells us of a young soldier Gatsby who falls in love with a Southern belle Daisy Buchanan. He is poor and she is rich, which is a problem. Gatsby is sent to war and Daisy gets tired of waiting, so she eventually marries someone in her old money world, Tom Buchanan, and Gatsby comes home crushed that he has lost her. From this point on, he begins his journey to wealth and fame through doing illegal activities such as smuggling alcohol and organized crime. Inciting incident. The inciting incident is when Daisy and Gatsby meet again in Nick's house after Gatsby has become wealthy and they start their affair back up. Daisy knows that Tom is cheating on her with another woman, so she feels the need to get back at Tom in some way. She does not necessarily feel like this is the only reason to get back with Gatsby, as she still has feelings for him. Rising action. The rising action is when Nick meets Myrtle, Tom's newest affair. Tom leads him into a dirty part of the city and meets Myrtle at a garage with her completely unsuspecting husband, George. Nick, Tom, and Myrtle go out and into Tom and Myrtle's secret apartment. Nick begins to wonder about whose side he is on because he has seen both Tom and Gatsby's side of the story. Conflict. The conflict of this story is how Gatsby wants to get back with Daisy because he has earned enough money to be considered part of the wealthy class, but she is torn between Tom, her husband, and Gatsby, her old lover from long ago, and cannot choose. Climax. The climax is a confrontation between Tom and Gatsby in the hotel when Gatsby admits that he and Daisy are involved in an affair. Daisy can't choose between them and dashes off in the car while Gatsby follows behind. Falling action. The falling action or denouement is Daisy's rejection of Gatsby. After the confrontation between Tom and Gatsby, Daisy leaves immediately with Jay. Gatsby was originally going to drive and take her home, but she insisted on driving. Ironically, on their way back to Daisy's home, Daisy is not thinking straight and is so confused that she speeds straight into Tom's newest affair, Myrtle. That is all I can tell you without spoiling the ending, sorry, but I suggest you read it yourself to find out what happens to the rest of the characters. My opinion. Overall, I think that The Great Gatsby is a great read for anyone. It has a little bit of everything to interest everyone, whether it be romance or violence. There were many plot twists that kept me interested in the book. One thing I enjoyed about the book were the different themes. The two themes in the book that I enjoyed the most were the decline of the American dream and the difference in social classes. Obviously, the American dream and the social classes are not necessarily the same today as they were back then, but I still think that is a good topic to think about. Another thing is that it shows a good moral lesson that everything in life is not so picture perfect and that people aren't everything they are made out to be. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and this book definitely shows that.